Hey guys, I just wanted to do a recap of my experience and my impressions of the River to Sea Ultra 12-hour ultra marathon that I did this last Saturday. Um, it was awesome. It was my first ultra distance marathon, or I'm not sure what you call it. It was my first ultra, we'll say that, and it was awesome. And it's almost beyond explanation. I got a couple of days to kind of decompress from it and think about it, and it's it was just it was unbelievable. So I'll just start there. Um, I wanna say a couple thank yous. Thank you to my crew, Stacy and Jeffrey. Um, Mostly Stacy, but Jeff, you were there for some solid encouragement too, so I appreciate that. Um, Dawn, Dawn, thank you very much for getting me off that waiting list and into the actual race. Obviously, I really appreciate that. Steven, Steven, if you hadn't been talking it up, man, I wouldn't even have thought about doing it. So I really appreciate you talking so much about it week in and week out. I got to the point where I was like, this guy keeps talking about it. I gotta look into it, and I looked into it, and info was like a 0.87 mile loop. I was like, oh, that's probably gonna get monotonous. I'm not gonna do that. And then I looked at it a little while later, and it had changed to 1.7. I was like, I can do that. That's half as much monotony, uh, but twice as much sun. So thank you, Stephen, for for turning me onto that. Thank you so much, so much to the volunteers that were out there all day in the sun, just baking on there with face masks on top of it. I I can't thank you enough. There's no way that I would have been able to perform at the level that I did um, without you guys. So thank you so much for packing that ice into my neck. It, uh, it changed the whole race for me. I really believe that it, it changed the whole race. So I really appreciate the fact that you guys gave up your time and sat out in that heat for us. Thank you to all the other runners. Hot chocolate. Thank you for the advice at the beginning of the race. That was that calmed me down, and it was appreciated. So I want you to know specifically that what you said really had an impact on me, and I implemented it into the race. Um, so thank you, and all the other runners, all the other walkers, everybody else that was out there that encouraged me throughout the race. It was unbelievable. We were all suffering out there. I tried to encourage everybody as I was running with people, but the fact that that seemed to be a universal. Um, it was just encouragement. It was just so awesome and so refreshing and nice to see. Um, so I'm so grateful for that, and I'm grateful for um, this community that hopefully I'm going to be a more of a part of. You know, thank you, and then thank you to the some of the people that were out there in the tents or watching their families go, um, giving me giving me updates as the laps kept on ticking off. I really appreciate that. It was it gave me something to fix onto and to say, well, uh, there's something, something that I can continue to move towards, other than a clock ending, because I'm not sure if I just had 12 hours of fixed time to hold on to that I would have done as well. So thank you for that encouragement along that road. Um, I really appreciate it. Um, so some of you already know. Some of the people that ran the race obviously already know. But for anybody that's thinking about doing the race, anybody that is just checking it out, we got really cool medals. They were burnt wood. It's cool. It's really cool. So is it burnt wood? It was nice, and then got the overall little trophy there, also in burnt wood. It's freaking sweet. So that's awesome. So Don and your team, I'm not sure who made those. I'll give credit to them if you tell me who it was, but those are sweet. So I appreciate that. Um, I'm gonna get into the actual run now. My actual run. Let me see if I can minimize this. All right, I'm gonna go off Strava just because it's the easiest thing for me to do. I was talking to Zach earlier about kind of what my game plan was. Looking back at it, I wanted to keep my heart rate around 120, but it looks like I deviated from that after the first mile. So, um, usually I went into the race thinking that I just wanted to control my heart rate. I had no expectations of actually winning the race. My only expectation was this was a long training run to prepare for 100 up in October, and that I was going to take the opportunity to kind of see where my body was at. So I wanted to control my heart rate all day. All of my training runs up until this point are controlled, running at maximum aerobic function. So I try to stay under 145. Obviously, I deviate from that, just like I deviate in some normal training runs. But for the most part, I wanted to stay under 145, which I think I did okay at for the most part until the heat really started getting to me. So as far as my nutrition, I did a couple things. I took Tailwind I was drinking Tailwind all day long. I would try to take in, I think it was 17 ounces per lap. So, I think that if I was breaking this down on an hour basis, I went in trying to tell Stacy that I wanted to be consuming about 600 calories per hour, and I think I achieved that. I think I actually might have gone over that, and realistically, I think that helped quite a bit. So I was drinking the Tailwind, and I was taking some hammer gels and some SIS gels. I think I went in with 8 hammer gels, and I took 17 Science and Sports gels. So I would try to, I think at the beginning of the race, I was trying to take one of those a loop. So obviously, what was that? So apps that I didn't take a gel, but for the most part, that was my goal was to take in that. I ate a couple times. Had a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. I can't remember at what mile I took it. I had a Lara bar. Again, I don't remember at what mile I did any of that. But and then Stacy peeled some oranges for me along the way, which was great. Just refreshing to have something else in your body, something solid. Let's see. So I think that I think I achieved my calorie intake. I did take some salt tablets, even though some of those the SIS gels had sodium in them. I wasn't real religious about the tablets, but I was trying to take about 2 an hour. I think they're like the higher of the two that Hammer has. So Hammer has a basic, and then Hammer has like I don't know, one that has more more sodium in it, and I took those. So I tried to take 2 of those an hour. So I probably went a little heavy on it on the sodium. I was a little swollen after. So, but I think Zach said this in one of his comments that I'd rather take too much than too little, and that's certainly the case. So I felt good all day long. I really felt good. I noticed my heart rate spiking around mile 29, and I didn't not feel good. I thought I could attribute that to I was speeding up a little bit because I felt good. So I think once I got to the 32, 33, 34 mark, I kind of realized that half the day was still ahead of me, and that I needed to kind of come back to my actual plan, which was just controlling my heart rate. And at that point, it was hot. Oh my Lord, it was so hot. So, Don had said this in one of the other comments, but the heat index was over 100 all day long. I think I don't know, it couldn't have been too far after 9 a.m. The heat index was over 100, and I don't think it dropped under 100 until 6. So that's hot. It's hot. So I hadn't been taking any ice up until somewhere in here between 29 and 34. The volunteers had asked me, and I had said no. I just kept on running, and then I had this mission. What are they called? Net gators. And I got to a point in here where I was just hot. It was, I was still, that was probably the fastest I was moving throughout the whole race. And I thought, I need to control my heart rate a little more. And I thought, well, the ice probably can be a good start. So I had them pack that gator, and then I just I folded it over and pulled my shirt up over the gator, and wow, that was really refreshing. I think it. I don't want to say that it was a turning point, because I felt good up until that point. I felt good. My feet are another issue that I'll talk about in a minute. But even with the foot issue that I had, I still I still felt good. That the foot thing is something that I can run through, or I could on Saturday for the race. So I think the ice was huge. So I won't call it a turning point, but I will say that it was psychologically, it was it was a big piece. So I'll go back a little bit and I'll talk about my shoes. So I brought 4 pair of shoes, and it was a really big mistake. I brought 2 of my newer pairs of shoes, which were 11 and a halves. I usually run in 12s, and I bought the 11 and a halves thinking that I bought the 12s in error originally. But I hadn't bought them in Air 12s is what I had always run in. I just couldn't see my tags when I was going to reorder them. I always run in the same shoe, although a different iteration. So I had always been running in New Balance, the version 1500. Um, so I think that I was on version 3, and then one pair of the 11.5s was version 5, and then the other pair of 11.5s was version 6. So I started in the 6s. In my feet, I could feel a blister starting to form on my left foot, probably around the 13-mile mark. I'm not sure exactly when. So I came in, changed my shoes and my socks. I didn't really dry my feet off completely before I put my socks back on. I wear the right socks, WRIGHT, which are they're fantastic socks. I've worn them for. I took a long break from running, but I've worn them when I was running back in my early 20s. So when I was running marathons back then, and I love the socks. They're like 2-layer socks. They're great. So it wasn't the socks' fault. It really wasn't the shoes' fault either. I mean, it was the shoes' fault, but it was my fault for wearing those shoes. Um, and I'm paying for it big time today. So I changed from those version 6s, the 11.5s, into another pair of 11.5s, the version 5s, and I ran probably until mile 45, maybe even later than that. In the 11.5s, they were tight. They were squeezing my toes together. I've got gigantic blisters in between my big toe and the next toe. I've had some nail issues where I've had to burn holes into 3 of the nails, lost 2 other nails, blisters on the ball of my foot, both feet, and then blisters all around those toes. So uh, I'm in rough shape today. I was in rough shape walking after the race, but during the race, it was they were all crushed into shoes. So I knew something was going on there, but I could run through it, and nothing was going to change. Nothing was going to change it. I had run past the point that I could do anything prophylactically. I was just foolish. And I wore the wrong shoes. I didn't take care of the most important part of my body going into the race, my feet. In my running career, I've never had any foot issues. I've never once had a blister. I've never once had a black toe. So this was all brand new to me. I'm not running high mileage is not something new. I'm very accustomed to running high mileage throughout the week. So uh, the foot thing was new, and again, I'm paying for it now. But lesson learned: wear the right shoes. And I was talking to Hot Chocolate about this because I think he wears Ultra Escalantes, and I just bought a pair of those, a couple of pair of those actually, because the footbed is so gigantic. So, hopefully I'm going to be transitioning into those a little more, and certainly away from the shoes that are the wrong size. So, huge mistake on my part. I'm glad that it didn't have a huge negative impact on the race. I don't know that I would have run any better had I run in the right shoes. I just know that I wouldn't have the issues that I have right now had I run in the right shoes. So, I can't make any excuses about performance because, I ran beyond my wildest expectation for the race. Um, um, when Zach passed me and took me off the lead lap. I don't know where we were. We were probably in the 30-mile range, and I think I might have still been um, in third place. I think that Angel was in front of me at that time also. I thought to myself, this is still a really good showing. I didn't know Angel was a master, so I thought to myself, well, I've got a chance to still be the Masters winner. So really, I was still thrilled with everything that was happening in the race. Zach looked so solid. Um, Zach, you looked good, man. Um, and as we just progressed in the race, and it was one of the people after the start finish line that was on the side that kind of alerted me to to the fact that that I was catching up. And then each time I would come around for a new lap, I would get I would get updates from um, from the fans out there, and that was that was cool. It gave me something to really focus on. I was able to block things out, which was nice. Um, I was surprised to see later on in the race that my heart rate was dropping further and further. Because some of these miles right here, 53 to 59, they were probably the miles that I felt the absolute best at. I'm not sure. I think I caught up to Zach around 40, 45, and I think we battled back and forth for a few miles, and then I think around 47, um, I took the lead and was in front after that for the rest of the race. But those last 6 miles, I felt great. Um, this whole experience has been great beyond my wildest imagination. Thank you again so much to Dawn and to everybody really that took a part. So I'm not sure I'm missing anything. Maybe I am, but um, another thank you to Juan at the Running Elements for giving me some much needed advice. I really appreciate that. So another shout out to him. Um, that's all I've got. Please feel free to reach out to me. I love to talk. I love the community. So please, I want to be a part of the community, and if I can help somebody, I'd love to. But more than that, I want to be able to just be a part of this ultra running community. So thanks a lot, and have a good one, everybody.